Alright, so I promised I would do a review of this, but I can't be, like, bothered in any sort of way to actually write a review of Shrek the Third. Because this movie's absolute garbage. Like, honestly. I did a Google image search of the box cover thing for the Blu-ray disc, and on the top of it it says "the best Shrek yet," which is a quote attributed to Pat Collins of WWDR-TV. And I haven't done any research into this, but I suspect that he got fired and burned at a stake for poor reviews and lies in general. One can only assume he was bad at his job if he actually thought this possibly only got his job due to some kind of, like, I don't even know, like some special work program for people who have, like, mental challenges and disabilities. I don't know, like, it, short story, like, this movie was bad, like, excessively so. Like, not in any way that's offensive or anything, unless you, well, I mean, it was offensive to humanity, I guess, and my intelligence. Like, I think I might have lost some while watching this. There's a lot of ums in this review, which I'm attributing to this movie. It was bad. Like, I've seen bad movies before, but this is really not good. Like, the movie has some strong points at least. Like, in the beginning, the jokes were good, and at the end, it ended, so, like, I can't fault it for ending, because that's what I wanted when I started watching it. And, like, it's 2 in the morning as well, and, like, it didn't make me laugh, other than, like, one joke at the very beginning, where, like, Shrek throws a bottle into a boat, and the boat sinks. Everyone on the ship dies, like a fire. Which the fire wasn't explained, but that's probably the funny part of the joke. Like, they died. Woo. It's mean-hearted and mean-spirited, I guess, of a joke, but I mean, it got me because I wasn't expecting it, because I don't know anything about the movie other than it's a Shrek movie and it was terrible. Like, I don't even know what I need to say here. Like, it's a Shrek movie, and I looked at the IMDb page because I needed to know something about it. So it was made in 2007, and some poor bastards gave it a 6 out of 10. Like, 164,553 people made it a 6 out of 10. Like, if that isn't proof that we should just give up on society, then I don't know what is. Like, I can't justify that. No one can. If you've seen the movie, you understand. Like, some people are terrible people in the world, and I know, like, the message is that, like, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, or anything like that, but, like, some people do deserve to get shot. That's just, like, the truth of the matter. Like, you can't ignore that. Who made this movie even? Chris Miller, Ramon Hui, Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy. Like, I don't know. Writers. Perfect. William Steig, Stig, wrote the book. Andrew Adamson wrote this story. Jeffrey Price, Peter S. Seaman, yes, Seaman, as in Seaman, Chris Miller, and Aaron Warner. Aaron spelled Aron. These people should be at the top of your kill list right now. Like, if they aren't already. I don't even care if they're not dead yet. Find them. Exhume their bodies and then burn them. If they were cremated, find their ashes. Each and every one. And then do some kind of spell to resurrect them so you can stab them. And then kick them in the groin. Like, they don't deserve any less. Like, I know I've been saying very vague things about the movie, but I literally just watched it and I can't remember things about the movie. Like, so Shrek is filling in for the king because the king is, like, you know, sick or whatever, dying basically. And they're just like, oh yeah, it'll be fine, we'll be able to leave sometime. But no, the king dies. And the king, if you remember from the last movie, which is much better, and I don't really like the Shrek series, but I can admit fully that Shrek 2 was the best one that I've seen, and I haven't seen Shrek 4, but I don't care to, especially not after this. But so if you don't remember from Shrek 2, the king is actually a frog, which I'm spoiling like the end of that movie, but it doesn't matter because that was like early 2000s, and it's a kids movie by DreamWorks. Like, you shouldn't care. I don't care. Why do you care? But so the king's a frog, and he dies, and they don't use the joke, oh, the king croaked. Like, it's so obvious. Use that as a joke. And I know the scene they were going for is like some tense whatever and stuff, but they have jokes within the scene, and like, you're ignoring really bad, but you're ignoring something that might actually get a laugh. Like, it's obvious, but you should still take, you know, the cheap laugh, because you're not getting anything else out of the movie. Like, you're starting the movie off with a character dying. Like, there's not anywhere going up from this, which I just mentioned Up, like, completely by accident, but that movie's so good, and it features a person dying at the very beginning. Like, seriously, it hadn't come out yet, I don't think, but look into the future, try to find notes somewhere. Like, Shrek the Third was terrible. So, to continue further, like, to make matters worse for the movie, like, they just decide the next scene they need to have, like, the next important one is, like, going to a high school. And, like, that's the dumbest thing. Why would you go to a high school for, like, a scene in a movie for children? Because high schools are depressing and, like, boring bullshit. And the joke there is, like, oh, Arthur, who's this, like, stupid kid who, you know, is going to be king. Like, he's the loser, and everyone picks on him. Like, that's not cool. That's not funny. There's nothing funny about that scene. Like, and then they have, like, oh, Shrek's in a costume, so he's the mascot or whatever. And, like, it wasn't funny. And it just really sucked. Like, it was really stupid, you know? And then they leave, which is the high point of that scene. Like, they leave the unfunny place to go to even more unfunny places. It's, like, really dumb. And so, like, they get on a boat, and then they tell, like, Arthur, or Artie as he's called in the movie, like, you, I don't know, need to become the king. And then they start, like, saying things offhand to make the job, like, sound really bad without realizing they're making it sound really bad. So, like, I don't know. Like, it, I could fill this review of like 20 minutes worth of sighing, and it would be the exact same. Like, this movie was bad, and I guess I just continue. But like, so they're on a boat, and then the boat crashes because whatever. And then they're just like, oh, we should find our way back. And you think they're going to go on some grand adventure or some shit, and whatever. And then like, they go and find the ex-magic professor, which is played by Eric Idle. Like, they dragged Eric Idle into this movie. Like, that's disgraceful. Like, it's even worse because like Eric Idle, he has better movies, and then you're just making me think of his voice, and then like I want to watch those movies rather than this one. Like, don't do that. Don't have a character, like every other character in this movie who's in a better movie. Like, don't make a movie that's so bad, and then have characters who are in better movies. Like, that doesn't apply to every movie. That applies to this movie, and like all other movies that I want to think of right now, but it's 2 in the morning, so I can't. It's so bad, and Justin Timberlake's Artie, and that makes no sense. Like, why not just get a completely different character? Because Artie never sings. Artie never brings sexy back. Like, I don't know enough Justin Timberlake references to. Artie never like rips off a character's shirt or whatever, exposing their breast at the Super Bowl in Far Far Away. Like, I don't know enough references to make any sort of jokes about that. Like, and the movie doesn't like bring attention to it. Like, Justin Timberlake's just a really weird choice. Like, if you're gonna pay someone, I don't even know how much he probably got paid for that role, but if you're gonna pay someone that much, like, why would you go out of your way and be like, oh yeah, Justin Timberlake, he makes good music, let's put him in a movie about shit with an ogre, and the animation looks, I don't know, good for its time, but there's something really off about like DreamWorks stuff whenever they're making something that's like supposed to look kind of realistic, so it just looks terrible still. Like, there's something very uncanny about all of how it looks, and that's also really annoying. But like, there's just so many random things I could harp on. Like, none of the characters are interesting, none of the characters are even likable. Like, Artie is not likable whatsoever, and I don't know if it's just like the voice acting or if like he's just meant to be a little shit, but he's a little shit and I can't deal with it. I don't know how to, like, and Shrek is supposed to be like clearly kind of a little shit in this movie because he's like running away in a little sense from his responsibilities, and he didn't want to have children. But Fiona's pregnant, so they have to kind of deal with that, because the movie's not going to be like, well, let's push a pro-choice whatever, and have Shrek abort the babies, but like, that would be weird. That would be a terrible plot. I'm really glad they're done making Shrek movies, and they don't have time plot, like going back in time, and they don't have weird, like, political stances that they want to push in the movies. Like, that's one thing I can give it. It wasn't as bad as it possibly could be, but they certainly did try. Like, oh, and the villain this time is Prince Charming from Shrek 2, and if you remember Prince Charming from Shrek 2, he was a little shit, and I couldn't deal with him. Like, he was annoying, but it was really funny because every scene, like, was about him being, like, in Shrek 2 at least, every scene was about him just, getting shit on because he couldn't become the king, and he was just a little prick that, was so self-absorbed and shit, and, like, no one cared about him, as, like, except for his mom. And I thought that was funny, like, as a child, like, he's not getting what he wants, so that's okay, because I don't like him, and that's good, like, in Shrek 2, where I don't like him, and he's not getting his way, so, like, keep it like that. In Shrek the Third, he's a little shit, but he starts getting his way, and, in the end, he's gonna, like, get his comeuppance, but at the same time, you're seeing him succeed, and that's not funny, it's not cool, it's not, like, anything I wanted to see. Like, why would I want to sit through an hour and a half of that? And I don't want to sit through an hour and a half of that, and don't know why I did, but, like, it's all really bad, and then, like, there's parts where they're like, oh yeah, that's really funny, to try to, like, point out a joke, and then it's not funny, and no one laughs, and that's really bad, and I didn't like it, and, like, I drew a picture of, my opinions of the movie, and I drew it in MS Paint using the crayon tool, because that's all I know of MS Paint. So, yeah, I'm just going to continue wasting your life by telling you more about Shrek the Third, because I was asked to do an honest review, and I cannot be bothered in whatsoever kind of way to write this, because it's soul-crushing. And I want to experience something that just goes on and on forever without ending, because that's Shrek the Third. However, I'm going to actually end this by saying the movie was terrible, and I'm giving it 1/5 of a star. Like, not even, no, I'm giving it 1/5 of 5 half-assed stars. Thank you for sitting through this, like, horrible review.